everybody. Welcome to Rock and Roll Shin-Soo. My name is Gabe Estel, and I'm here with my co-host, Dennis Levi Leach and Jonathan Getz for episode number 30. You've come a long way, baby.
30-30, baby.
All right, yep.
We
30 for 30.
Kids. All right. Well, good deal. Well, we're glad everybody's here with us for our 30th episode. We took a little bit of a hiatus. Levi is now Dennis Colorado Thunder Leach.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So
Kiki. They're calling me Kike.
Guys.
Denver Nuggets. Throwback.
Congrats on. Oh, yeah. Nice. Good reference. So, yeah, Levi is out there. So congrats on the move, man. And we'll go ahead and get right off. Jonathan actually reminded us just a few minutes ago before we started recording the show that this is the 20th anniversary of Jerry Garcia's passing. So rest in peace to old Jer. And that kind of segues into the first part of our leadoff here. As I mentioned during the episode 29, the Dead were just in town for what's believed to be their final shows. And I had a really good time. I'm not going to go over, song by song or anything like that, but I found the first night to be the best.
Really?
Yeah. I liked the first night a lot. Set list wise, at least.
Yeah.
The second night was probably my least favorite, although it was still good. And then the third night was really strong as well. Kind of predictable at times with the third night, but yeah, I really liked the first night. Even though a lot of people don't like Phil's voice, and he did sing too much, I'll give him that. They should have had Trey singing more. The Boxer Rain opener on Friday night was nice. And they did Passenger, which is one of my favorite songs,
It's an old school tune.
which I had heard that they hadn't played since the early 80s. And yeah, so it was a lot of fun. It was crowded. It was kind of disorganized in the sense that they only had what appeared to be 2 or 3 entrances open. So they were you had 70,000 people moving through 2 entrances.
Oh, wow.
That's hard to fathom that they would.
Yeah,
why they would do that.
Maybe it was more than 2, but it was jam packed wherever I was. Took the first night, we waited in line, in the line to get in to scan your ticket for 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So it moved smoother each night. Each night was a shorter wait. But yeah, it was packed. It was crowded.
See any celebrities?
I did not. No. I'm.
You didn't see Cutler?
No Cutler. No Cutler sighting. No.
Cavallari,
yeah.
I partied with Rex Grossman that night. No. But anyway, him and Jim Miller stopped by. But all the Bears, they had a whole section for all the Bears quarterbacks. All
Peter Tom Willis, man, that dude can. That dude can party.
25 quarterbacks they've had in the last 10 years. But
Mike
anyway.
Tomczak. Sorry, right. I'll stop.
So Cade McDown was there.
He better not have been. They should have fucking thrown him right out.
Yeah, he's on the black. The
camera did pan on Bill Walton once or twice during the last night.
Sure, it wasn't Bruce Hornsby. Curly hair, man. They got to.
No, this guy had about 2.5 feet on Bruce Hornsby, I think. So, but yeah, so I had a really good time. I mean, I kind of, I don't know if
it was.
If some people were disappointed, I don't know. I mean, my expectations weren't.
Were some people disappointed?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's some older heads that probably didn't even want anything to do with it.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Whatever.
That's my brother-in-law went.
Yeah,
and so I think
saw a lot of shows in the 80s.
He saw a ton of shows with Jerry, and then so they got there, and I think to them it was they saw one of the shows in Santa Clara the week before,
right?
And they said it was just about selling the experience of being at a Grateful Dead show. Just being in the parking lot with all the people, then being inside with tons of people. And then they're not big Fish people, so I don't see, I can't.
They were anti-Trey before you.
Yeah. So they weren't going to change their mind about that.
Yeah.
But I will say, I talked to them right after that show, and he said, "Hey man, I saw John Mayer walking around, and I heard that John Mayer is going to be the new guitarist in the Dead," and I was like, whatever. And then just a couple days ago on the internet, I read that John Mayer is playing with, it's called Dead and Company.
Yeah,
and what it is, it's everybody but Phil, who is still alive from the Dead. So that'd be Bobby, Mickey, and Bill. And then, is it Jeff Chimeni, however you say it? Right. And then on bass is O'Teal, I believe.
Yeah, right.
O'Teal Burbridge?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Huh. Has he played with them before?
And John Mayer.
O'Teal played in no, that was Alfonso Johnson.
That was Alfonso, yeah.
That played in the other ones, yeah.
Yeah, I know, and so that'll kind of be interesting because they have a big repertoire. There's a lot of songs that, and so that got me. I was like, wow, that he totally somehow knew that like weeks before it happened.
Right.
And so I looked into the story a little bit, and I guess John Mayer has been like, I don't know when it was, like a year or so ago or two, however it was.
He played with Phil before.
He heard Althea. He was driving and he heard Althea and was like, "Who the hell is this?" And like I guess since then he's like immersed himself into Jerry and like trying to play like Jerry.
Oh, it's all recent. His education.
Yeah.
That's what.
Right on. I got no problem with that. That's cool.
Yeah,
whatever.
that's
as long as you're educated.
He's one of those people, like, I don't like his music, but I don't know. He seems like inoffensive to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
inoffensive is a good word.
Yeah. I'm not gonna buy one of his records,
Right. But, he has some killer artwork on his records. I think his most recent one. There's actually a Vimeo video about the making of the cover, the illustration. It's a good watch. Anyway.
Cool.
Dude's got some notches on that bedpost.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
Hats off.
No kidding.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Most importantly.
Right. But anyway, I had a good time, man.
Was it a good vibe? The crowd?
Yeah, I thought the crowd was all right.
Yeah.
How
were the concessions?
Yeah, I was going to say garlic grilled cheeses still $1.
I didn't really explore the parking lot too much, or the shakedown street, but the concessions were shitty. They actually ran out of everything but pretzels the last night, within the venue. It was just your basic Soldier Field concessions.
Right.
You're like, these taste old. They're like, oh, they're from last November.
Right. Yeah, the pretzels from the last Bears win.
Hey.
Yeah. But anyway, I had a good time, and I think Trey did really admirably too. I think he did.
Fit in.
Obviously, I like the guy. I'm a fan of his music and Fish. But I think he proved maybe some skeptics wrong, and also they asked him to do it, It wasn't like he was like me,
right.
I mean,
it's not like he's been auditioning for it his whole life.
Right.
And so, what about his guitar tone and
it sounded like
and
him.
solos? It sounded like him. It always sounded like him. It sounded
like, whoa, this is what would it sound like if Bob Weir, Phil Lesh, and the two drummers, Mickey, had played with Fish. That's what it sounded like to me at times. But the Jeff Chimenti or whatever Levi mentioned, that guy's tight. That guy's rock solid. He's really good. He doesn't overdo it, but he's nice. And then Hornsby was okay, I guess.
I heard sometimes the mix was you could barely hear the keys.
Yeah, it was a little down. It was, yeah. But yeah, it was a good time, and I would give it a thumbs up. Good experience all around, really.
Good.
So that was good, and then obviously we lost Jerry 20 years ago, but since we recorded our last episode, one of my favorite bass players passed away, Chris Squire from Yes. So certainly somebody that would be on the Mount Rushmore of my bass players.
For sure.
If I had to pick them, him and Entwistle were always my favorites.
Yeah.
So just a I mean, even if you don't like Yes, like the guy was a fucking beast.
Oh yeah, dude. He
Yeah.
beat the shit out of that Rickenbacker bass, man.
He always played the Rick too, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, good backing vocals too. He
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
underrated
good
backing
vocals.
vocals.
And also, I think Fish Out of Water, his solo record, is really, really solid. It came out when he was still in Yes.
Yeah, yeah. They
Uh,
you don't see it a ton on vinyl. I've only seen it a few times.
yeah.
You always see the Wakeman ones or the John Anderson ones.
Yeah, like every member produced a solo record that year. Like that was like their year off, and they all did solo records.
Yeah.
Even Patrick Moraz has one. But anyway, so yeah, rest in peace to Chris. Great bass player, and
Definitely.
yeah. Mike, a friend of ours, a friend of the podcast, I was texting him, and he said that I hope, in reference to Chris Squire passing, that I hope his heaven looks like their album covers.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yep.
So Michael wins that one.
Yeah.
Well put. Now Yes is down to two, well, not original members, but classic lineup members. So
Yeah.
it's kind of becoming the Leonard Skinner of Prague, I guess.
But
So yeah, in 5 years there will be
percentage-wise,
no one, but
Yeah.
there will still be a band touring called Yes.
Right. But yeah, they're carrying on. So anyway, moving on to baseball. The other thing that's happened is we talked about a lot of the speculation in previous episodes. The trade deadline has come and gone, and the Royals made, I think, the most significant moves of the three teams that we follow closely.
they got it done.
Yeah, so Johnny Cueto's probably comes to mind like one of the biggest Royals pitching acquisitions probably ever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was the first significant move that they've made probably ever when it comes down to like the real trade deadline and what it's turned into over the last 20 years. And for them, I mean, they went out and got an ace.
Yeah.
This
he's a
team
bona
that
fide ace,
thought
man.
that it had an ace in Yordano Ventura, and it didn't, because it turns out he's still got a lot of maturing to do, both on the mound and off the mound. To go out and get that guy that you need to start off a series, a playoff series, was huge. I mean, to pull that trigger, and it's interesting because their ownership has been known to be pretty tight, tight-fisted with the wallets, and also to be ready to granted ship prospects for. Or established players for prospects. That's what the Royals fans are used to over the last 20 years. See Johnny Damon et al. And for them, for that same ownership then to go ahead and say, this is it. I mean, we're where we want to be. We're ready to make these moves. I think it instills a lot more faith and kind of mends some fences with this fan base that has had to put up with what it has over the last 20 years, that it's like, oh, now they are in a position, so the ownership really, they do care. And to go out and get both Cueto and Zobrist.
Right, that's the other guy I was going to mention, right?
Yeah. So, with
one of baseball's best utility players. He hasn't hit that well this year. But,
no, he's slightly above average, I think, in terms of OPS, but
older than I thought he was, too. He's like...
So what is he, like 33, 34? Yeah.
Yeah.
The nice thing about him, though, is because Alex Gordon went down at the beginning of July. I don't know if they make this deal if Alex Gordon doesn't go down. But now that they have him, when Gordon comes back, which should be in a few weeks, he'll either replace... the idea was he'd replace Infante, but really, in my opinion, he should probably replace Alex Rios, who's just been abhorrent out there in right field.
Yeah.
Granted, Infante isn't swinging a big stick either, but you expect more production out of your right fielder than your second baseman. And Infante's glove is pretty solid. So,
Rios is a career disappointment. I can speak from experience.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great year in Toronto, but that's about it.
He got a huge deal because of it. And
Yeah. So Zobrist is pretty versatile. They played him at third today for the first time since for 5 years for him. Nice. So it was pretty exciting to see the ownership go out and do what they did, and essentially like it's funny because it's those rumors that you always talk about your team, like, if we could just go get this guy, then that would be awesome, and it never really happens that way. You get somebody like a level below what you're hoping for.
You get like instead of Levi getting Dan Herron, you would have gotten Dan Herron or something like that.
But they actually went out and got those two guys,
right?
So it was impressive.
Yeah. I mean, those are playoff moves. You know, I mean, you were already in first place before you got those two dudes. You know, you most likely would have won the division without those two guys as well. So, you're not screwing around.
Exactly, they're playoff moves.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, good for you, Levi, man.
2 words, Dan Herron.
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't that thrilled when we got him, and then in his first outing, he got rocked.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see how the rest of this transaction pans out.
Yeah.
They didn't give up a ton for him.
No.
So,
I mean, if you guys would have gone after Price, you would have given up a lot.
We would have given
some of your best
A-level
prospects.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, if Price or Hamels, you know, if you would have gone after either one of those two more aggressively, you would have had to given up so much more. So, Herron's just a rental. One
of the funnest facts since then is that David Ross, our backup catcher,
right,
has pitched 2 innings of no-hit baseball.
Nice. Yeah.
In these crazy games where like they needed somebody off the bench, Madden has gone to him twice now, and he's done good.
Because he's Lester's catcher, right?
He is.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, hey, man, if you playoffs come around and you've exhausted all your other options, throw
Rossi out there.
Yeah, I might have to have Ross go to the other end. All right. Well, good. Yeah. So Herron. Did you guys make any other moves? Nothing significant. Right?
Nothing significant. No. We should have gotten rid of some people, but that's another story.
Right.
Rafael Soriano comes to mind. In the last week we've benched Castro, and so Baez probably could have gone, but instead in all the reports, they're going to play the patience card with Baez, leave him in the minors the rest of the year, bring him up in September.
You shipped Junior Lake.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
To Baltimore.
Junior Lake to Baltimore
for that reliever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for the bullpen guy. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
The bullpen guy is.
Yeah. The White Sox. We didn't make any moves. I mean, we let Connor Gillespie, who was actually had a decent year last year, but just never really clicked this year at third base. We let him go, but yeah, I mean, obviously, I think now the whole fan base is wondering, like, oh, what could have we have gotten for Samardzija, because
not a winning record.
Yeah, right. I mean, we went from we were sellers, and then we got hot, for won 7 in a row. Went to maybe being buyers, but stood pat, and now it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but it's kind of a lost cause at this point, I think.
Yeah.
So teams played so inconsistently.
And the Royals now with 10.5 game lead in that division. It's
you're not gonna fill that.
And the White Sox have fallen back behind Detroit now. Detroit's been playing a little bit better. Minnesota's fallen back a little bit.
Right. Yeah, they're in 4th. So yeah.
But the Cubs, what? You won 9 of 10 or something like that?
We just swept the Giants on a 4-game series.
Wow.
You're 12 or 13 games over 500.
Yeah, we are 62-48.
Nice.
Got a couple
8.5 games behind the Cardinals.
But a couple games up on the wild card.
Yeah. Let me pull up wild card. We are. Okay.
I heard that there was a bomb threat at Wrigley tonight.
What?
Yeah. They evacuated the press box late after the game was way over, I think.
No good. Yes, we have the 2nd spot. The Pirates have the 1st, and they are 3 games ahead of us.
I assume you play Pittsburgh again this year. I would guess.
Yeah.
Them being in the division and all.
Yeah, let me pull up the schedule here because I was wondering. If we were going to play Colorado again.
While Levi's doing that, if you guys had to pick the World Series today, who would you pick? Because my predictions way off.
I-70.
Yeah, I would go with the Royals and the Cardinals too. Yeah. I would.
And that's a cheap pick because they both have the best records in their leagues. Right. But I won't pick the Blue Jays out of spite.
I was going to say Yankees have been like quietly good.
But they just got swept by the Blue Jays.
They just got swept by Toronto. But,
who's now inched within a couple.
I think the Yankees will get one of the wild card spots, though.
Oh, I think the Yankees will win the division. I don't think the Blue Jays.
I guess they still are like 3 games up. I think
2.5. I think
swept. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Toronto obviously made very significant moves.
I think the biggest bat and the biggest arm.
Yeah. They won the trade deadline. Well, actually, come October we'll find out who won the trade deadline.
Yeah.
But at least on paper, they won it. So they play Pittsburgh again, Levi?
Okay, I'm looking. Starting Tuesday, we have the Brewers for 3 days. This weekend's the White Sox. Right. After that's the Tigers, then the Braves, then a 1-game makeup with the Indians, then the Giants, the Dodgers, the
Pretty
Reds.
easy couple weeks there until you get to the Giants and the Dodgers.
Okay, and then September starts, and we have Reds, Diamondbacks, Cardinals, Phillies, Pirates, Cardinals, Brewers, Pirates, Royals, Reds.
Wow, so you got two series against the Pirates.
The
Pirates are playing really good baseball.
I didn't even know we had the Cubs and Royals played a series this season.
Well, yeah, they will.
I think Kansas City was in town. I think it was at Wrigley.
Yeah, at the end of September, there's a Royals makeup game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
A makeup game, right? Yeah, I do recall that rainout.
Okay.
Right.
Well, yeah. So we faced the Pirates and the Cardinals twice that month.
That'll be tough. Yeah, you got it pretty easy up until September. Like the rest of August is definitely doable. But we'll see how it plays out. I kind of like Houston too. If I had to, I'd like to see if
they just got swept by Oakland though. I think.
Yeah, it's still a good team though.
It is.
I think they made good moves. Like getting Kazmir, I think was a good move.
Yeah.
And
Scott Kazmir is, I would say, he's the ageless wonder, but he's still not that old.
He's like 29.
I think he's like 30. He's at least.
Is he like
30?
Okay.
Yeah.
But he came into the league young.
Oh, it seems like he's been pitching for since like the 90s.
I think he came in the league at like 19 or 20. But anyway, talking about the Blue Jays, that's a good segue into tonight's Heart of the Order. I'm going to be talking about our friends to the north. We missed Canada Day on July 1st.
I mean, we obviously all had it marked on our calendars.
We did, yeah. Better late than never.
That's a standard holiday on most U.S. calendars.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking at my calendar there. But, yeah, so we missed it, but that's okay, because we're going to celebrate Canada Day tonight. Yeah. Rock and roll Shin-Soo Choo style. By talking a little bit about Canadian music and, of course, Canadian baseball. Canada's players, and then also the 2 franchises, now just down to 1, that have been in Canada. We're going to talk about those, as well as some of our favorite Canadian artists.
Does that include, like, Heart Foundation, like Brutus Barber Beefcake? Anything like...
Brutus the Barber is my favorite WWF wrestler
Canada
of all time.
did produce some good wrestlers, man. You're right.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know he was Canadian.
Who,
I think he is, I assume.
The Barber?
Let me look
I don't
it
know
up.
Barber is. Brett is.
It would be ironic because I have a photo. My sister once ran into him at an airport. Yeah, and he's wearing a flag. It was during the first Gulf War, and he's wearing a T-shirt that has an American flag on it. It says, "Try to burn this one, asshole."
Nope, he was born in Tampa, Florida.
Okay,
but did train in Canada with Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Oh yeah.
Nice. So we're going to talk about that. Obviously, there was a recent feud, too, in baseball between the Blue Jays and the Royals, which was a big series, I think, a weekend ago? Last.
Yeah, and it was overblown. Notice the only people to be suspended were from the Blue Jays.
Right.
Just
right.
saying.
Yes, Kansas City being the real choir boys and all this year.
Hey, Kansas
But
City's been hit more than twice as much as they've hit players, for
Right.
the record.
You've got to
So
target
who's your Lambeer? Like, do you guys have, like, is there
Actually,
like one...
it's a guy who's not even throwing it at anybody. It's Giordano Ventura, who can't stop running his yap.
Yeah.
Who Ventura eventually like apologized to Jose Bautista, but anyway.
Yeah. They've like I mentioned, they've got a target on their backs. They're not as likable as they were last year for some reason. I don't.
I think
the nationwide sheen has
Yeah,
kind of worn off.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not cute anymore, right? Right. But hey, when you're at the top.
You see this? This is the world's two middle finger violins like playing. Yeah. Anyway.
Shite. Also, I don't know if you guys saw this. Neil Young yanked all of his catalog from the streaming services.
Our favorite Canadian musician.
Yes, our favorite Canadian. I mean, I think that's
dual citizen. He also has American citizenship.
But obviously, we're going to talk about Neil a little bit because you can't mention really Canadian rock and roll without him.
He's implied.
But he's like in another league. You know what I mean? Like,
so
with all due respect to Canada, the ones we're talking about, the gulf between Neil and Rush and everybody else is pretty wide.
Pretty wide, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They'd be like, okay, name your 3 favorite Australian bands. Everybody's like AC/DC. They're like, okay, number 2, and then.
Yeah, Tame Impala. Right.
Yeah, you Silverchair fans might speak up. Right. Hey man, I can tolerate Frog Stomp. Anyway,
hey, tomorrow,
they were like
baby.
15.
Impeccable for that age.
Yeah. Actually, that guy that lead singer just released a solo record, I think.
No, Daniel Johns.
Daniel Johns. Thank you.
Right.
Anyway, back to Canada.
Yeah. So Neil yanked his streaming service, which while I have a lot of the guy's albums, not all of them certainly, that kind of sucked because like everything was on RDO. But
is this in response to that like new super
Pono?
I think it's just generally because he doesn't like the quality of all of the other streaming services, right?
Right.
Yeah. Has nothing to do with royalties. It's just.
Did he take it? Did he pull it from Tidal as well?
I don't know. They do offer higher resolution. I hear.
So I'm told.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just Neil like standing up for what he always. Dude, if you're talking about crops or music fidelity, like he stays staunch in his principles. So it's not a surprise. But I think he is being a little overzealous about it.
I mean, I understand. I mean, it's his music too, so it's kind of, I guess, refreshing to see somebody kind of take ownership of it. But you're shutting people off, and even a future generation from listening to your music if you do that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like that's their only option.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's just how people are going to listen to music now.
Although, I mean, really, they are listening to it more on YouTube, which does offer a pretty high quality streaming service.
Right.
So I don't know if it's available there.
Well, yeah, I mean, he wants everything to be like analog sounding, but to be digital, and he wants it to, I don't know.
He's got really high standards. I mean, this is a guy who 4 of his best records weren't even available on anything other than the original release of vinyl when they first came out. They weren't even available until the late 90s. No, I'm sorry, early 2000s, including On the Beach. And because he just never liked the transfer to digital.
On the Beach, Hawks and Doves, Reactor.
Right. Yeah. So, and Time Fades Away still isn't available because he just doesn't like the transfer. And it is frustrating. I listen to a lot of tech podcasts, and they try to talk about his approach and they're like, oh, you can't tell the difference. And a lot of people say you can't tell the difference. And it's like, yeah, you can tell the difference. If you listen to cymbals, really high frequencies, shit gets wavy and washed out. So it's frustrating to hear people say, oh, it doesn't, you would never need anything better. Granted, a small percentage of the population needs something, expects something better than whatever streams from Spotify.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, most of the population is going to be in like a middle range of like, oh, it can sound this crappy and I'll still listen to it and it's okay. And then there's a percentage of people at the end of the spectrum that are really freaks about it.
Yeah.
People with $20,000 speakers. I know a guy.
Which is the minority.
I know a guy who has $3,000 interconnects.
Sure. Yeah,
and that's not a lot of money because you could buy like $20,000 interconnects.
Yep.
And the people that have that shit, it's like 0.001% of
the
music.
speakers look like pieces of art. You're like, is that really a speaker? They look like crazy statues. And
Right.
Yeah. And I think I'm in the. I don't have a lot of money to spend on that stuff, and so when I throw down $100 on a set of headphones, that's a big deal for me. But it does make a difference, between using earbuds, the cheap white earbuds you get with your iPhone, and using some nicer headphones.
I had never owned really nice headphones until this past holiday season. I went on Crutchfield and bought some, and I could tell a huge difference over. Yeah. Right now I'm using my cheap ones. I can tell a huge difference.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is the amount of attention that's paid to the music. And a lot of the people that I hear speak on the tech podcasts, they aren't paying full attention to the music when they're listening to it. Granted, when I listen, most of the time when I'm listening to my music, I'm also doing something else. So it is more background music. Yeah. But to have the option when you want to listen to it as your number one priority, you can tell the difference. But I think 90 I don't know what percent, a high percentage of people who listen to music under the age of 30 probably rarely listen to it and do nothing else and only listen to music.
They want to have it wherever they go, I mean,
right. While they're doing other things or moving.
I mean, not everybody's like, oh, I'm going to throw on this album and sit on a beanbag and listen to it, I mean,
like I got a good time.
That. All of us got to experience that.
I still do that.
yeah, I do too, occasionally. Not as much as I'd like, certainly, but so, and then also, start talking about just sort of Canadian players here in a minute, but first, it's possible that Rush played their last gig recently.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, because they sound so great, but I don't know. I mean, might as well go out on top, I guess. They're
not going to do one last tour or anything.
One would think they would end it all in Canada.
Right. Yeah. So they just finished a tour, correct?
They just finished a summer tour. Yeah, they played in LA. I think was the last show.
But it was never advertised as the last tour.
No,
or anything.
They've just kind of hinted at it, like in interviews. They've said they might.
Well, shit! I wish I would have gone.
Yeah. So I hope not because they sound great, but I don't know.
Hey, if they save their money, good for them. If they don't have to go back out on tour and can just spend time with their families up north of the border.
I mean, as far as ticket sales go, they've cleaned house over the years. So
they played Sprint Center here in town.
Right. Oh, I mean, they've kind of been a touring juggernaut the last few years. So. Talking about Canadian artists, we've gotten Neil and Rush kind of out of the way. I mean, I'm sure they'll come up again, but what are some of the best Canadian artists after those two? And I know, like I said, quite a chasm in between. Two.
April Wine comes to mind.
They're good.
I like April Wine a lot.
My criteria is pretty basic. It's like, do I like more than one of their songs?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean?
That's kind of the criteria I went on judging these albums.
Sam Roberts Band is another one for me.
Okay, yeah. Obviously, I would include Arcade Fire. I mean, I would actually even put them probably. Well, maybe not. I mean, it's a newer band, even though they've been around for a while.
And they kind of have dual citizenship as well,
right?
With Texas.
Right. Yeah. Right. But I guess they count. I mean, they formed in Montreal.
Yeah, I think they are considered they've won Canadian music prizes.
Sure.
So yeah.
Sure. So I would say them for the last 10 years or so. But I gotta say the Guess Who.
Yeah.
I think they're underrated.
Yeah. Burton Cummings.
Burton Cummings, Randy Bachman. Yeah. Their live album from the 70s. I think it was recorded in Seattle. It's from like 72 or 73. It's really, really good. The American Woman's like 16
Like,
minutes long.
they were one of the bands that could take like political and social things and like make songs about it, but you didn't feel like it was like shoved down your throat.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have a 45 single, To Share the Land, and the
one.
picture cover is like an Indian sitting with like an Indian blanket.
Definitely.
So it was like they were very, very socio-conscious.
Yeah.
I love No Time too. Like every time I hear that song on the radio, I'm like, yes,
Oh,
No Time.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
These Eyes, great song.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No Sugar Tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I was singing it this morning.
Panic does a killer cover of that.
They do.
Yeah. So I mean, the S Who for me would be Guess Who and Arcade Fire.
Yeah.
Arcade Fire for recently. This is maybe a controversial pick, but God, man, Bryan Adams. I mean, the guy was a hit maker, and I think for like what it is, I think Cuts Like a Knife is a good record for like just an '80s pop rock.
It's like an 80 time capsule of the record.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, Waking Up the Neighbors was one of my first cassettes.
It's from like '89.
Right.
It's. I mean, like I think the back to back of Cuts Like a Knife and Reckless, like the guy knew how to churn out a single. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, he sells tons of records.
Yeah.
In Canada, but he still sells tons of records.
Right. He was in town recently. The long tickets were only like $25. I kind of regret not going because he did Reckless in its entirety.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, and I look at this album. I look at Cuts Like a Knife, man. There's like 5 singles on it.
Yeah.
Like 5 big singles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he knew what he was doing in the writing. And well, I don't know how much of it he wrote, but this Cuts Like a Knife. He's only like 23, 24 when that came out as well. If maybe even a little younger than that. So
they still love him. He released a record in the last couple of years that went to the top of the charts in Canada.
Right, yeah, they're lifelong Adams fans. He can do no wrong.
They're loyal.
Like I felt like when I was younger, like when that was new, like I could only like one, and I liked Mellencamp, and I really wasn't into Adams. You know what I mean?
Compare the two now. Yeah, I mean they're
but like it was like they kind of had the same vibe a little bit on MTV, and so it was like I was more of a Mellencamp guy than I was.
Sure.
But I mean, I appreciate Bryan Adams. I have on 45, I rock it every once in a while. I have the song from what is it? The Three Musketeers, where it's him and Sting and Rod Stewart.
Oh no, All for Love.
All for Love.
Yeah.
It's a good ballad.
So I gotta add Adams to the list.
All right.
We gotta mention Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh fuck yes, I forgot about him. God, dude, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Canadian Railroad Trilogy is just
dude.
God, what a great song. I'll add another one too. Kind of a poor man's Rush, but Triumph.
Oh yeah, Triumph was a good band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. They were kind of it was kind of lighter prog. Well, actually, no. I mean, they rocked out a little bit too. But yeah, they were kind of an AOR but kind of proggy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Triumph's. They've got a couple of good records, and also another one. It's kind of like I don't know. I guess you could kind of lump them in the kind of the easygoing late '70s stuff. Chilliwack, as well.
Yeah. Who the fuck was Chilliwack?
Look them up, bro. Chilliwack was good. They were kind of I don't know, kind of the influence. We say like maybe like a little bit like Doobie Brothers and like.
I'm trying to think. Was there a big one called like Dreams? Something.
Right.
I think their big album was called Dreams.
Chilliwack is actually also a place in Canada. I think it's like a town in British Columbia. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, those are added. Do you guys have any more?
Yeah. I've got a couple. The band.
Yeah, that was going to be my next one.
Yeah. Oh God, well they're up there with Neil and
they are. You're right. They are.
God, and I'm embarrassed for forgetting that.
That's okay. More recently, Broken Social Scene. Nice. Broken Social Scene is a pretty, I think, a pretty important band of the last 20
Definitely
years.
Important to the last 10, 12 years of music.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I don't mean important like that they're good, but I don't really listen to them a lot. Like important, like they're good, and I listen to them a lot.
Okay, right,
yeah.
right. Kind of like they're important, but I don't listen to them. Is Sonic Youth? How I
yeah,
feel, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
To me, like it sounds like 30 years later they're still tuning their instruments,
right?
Slurring it out, but like they're important. Don't get me wrong. All right.
Daniel Lanois, I think, is a pretty great musician.
Okay.
Some of Daniel Lanois' solo stuff is.
I don't know if I'm familiar.
He also produced some stuff, Daniel Lanois, and his solo records have pretty good vibes. Slide guitar. Yeah. Oh man, great production.
We sold some of them at the record shop.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't know if I know him. Yeah.
No?
I just looked up a couple, and here's a couple that I didn't realize. Jeff Healey.
Yeah, the guitarist.
He was blind guitarist.
Blind, yeah.
And got so much screen time in Roadhouse as well. Was the director just like, you know what, we're gonna feature Healy in a lot of scenes?
Oh yeah, like Healy gets like VHS residuals off that stuff.
He's in so much of the movie. It wasn't just like like the band's playing. Like Healy's in like 4 or 5 scenes.
Just every scene they could get him in. You're like, was he just pumping gas? Was he at the bar? Like, what's going on?
I think Canada has also done a lot for their own music. Like the Canadian government does a lot to support what they output, and there are some rules in Canadian broadcasting, especially for radio, that it started off just 30% when they instituted it. It's now up to 40% of all music played on Canadian radio has to be derived from Canadian artists or producers, or a few other options but it has to have Canadian roots in some way, and so they're really proud of their music, and they have
local jobs, man.
I mean they have a lot of grants that they offer to bands. Sure. A lot of times you'll see, if you read the fine print on like Broken Social Scene albums or other recent Canadian records, you'll see a seal, like a Canadian government seal,
like subsidized,
that say it was subsidized by the Canadian government to record it, and that's pretty admirable that they go out of their way to do that. And even like promoting music festivals, the Canadian tourism goes out of their way to promote music festivals, just to like get people to get the, as they put it, the youth traveling across Canada, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good investment, man. Yeah. The value of the arts,
Yeah.
Don't forget the legendary Corey Hart either, guys. He was
former center fielder for the Milwaukee Brewers?
Yeah, man. Sunglasses at night, man. Corey Hart.
Oh, that one. Yes.
Levi, you mentioned April Wine. I think that what is it? The Bigger, Faster, or Longer, Faster?
That was like one of their most well-known records, and I'm actually more of a fan of earlier than that April Wine. Like their first couple of records, they covered they covered a Hot Chocolate song, and that Should Have Been a Lady is a great freaking tune.
It's a ripping cover, man.
If you haven't heard April Wine's version of that, you should definitely YouTube it. Should Have Been a Lady.
Is their version first, or is that a Hot Chocolate song?
No, it's a Hot Chocolate song.
What's the name of the song?
I'm pretty sure.
Should Have Been a Lady.
Okay, I'll put it on the website.
And I just saw Nick Gilder is from Canada as well. Hot Child in the City. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Hot Child in the City.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, yeah. So obviously, some important contributors.
Metz is a pretty awesome.
Those guys
hard rock band. Gabe, we saw them at Pitchfork.
Yeah, they're Canadian, huh? Okay.
Yeah, they're Canadian on the Sub Pop label. But it was awesome when we were watching them just rock the shit out of that. And we were behind the pit by like 4 or 5 people, and it was pretty aggressive up there in the pit.
It was. Yeah.
And And you just saw a banana peel go flying from like one side of the pit to the other side of the pit.
Right.
It was wonderful.
The Pitchfork crowd was eating healthy too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
And there was kale flying everywhere. I was like, what? These Brussels sprouts hit me on the head. But anyway,
you guys talked about artists that were like important, but you just don't really dig them.
Yeah.
And Avril Lavigne is one.
Sure. She's
The Canadian songbird.
been very important.
Yeah.
But no, actually, Leonard Cohen. He's kind of a guy.
Leonard Cohen, absolutely.
I never really
Cohen
got
is Canadian. God, how did I forget about these people?
I never really listened to him, but I know he's important. Like, I respect him.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I can't really listen to a ton of him.
I'm with you there. Like, I mean, I definitely the dude's important. But I don't listen to him regularly. I do have songs of love and hate. I think I've got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, he wrote "Hallelujah," which is the most
Right.
covered song in the history of
Oh, yeah.
Canadian music, probably.
Right. So yeah. So there's some solid contributors from our friends at the North.
And there seems to be a lot of support amongst the bands, especially in Vancouver. Oh wait, is Mac DeMarco from Canada?
I don't know.
Fuck. I gotta look it up right now, because if he is, I
A
think
lot of ladies. I said Canadian songbird, and that's actually Anne Murray. So Anne Murray,
right.
Alanis Morissette, Celine Dion, Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah, Mac DeMarco. Shout out. Yeah,
All right.
British Columbia.
The list
Nice.
grows.
Yeah.
Feist, Nelly Furtado, all females out of Canada. Shania Twain.
Shania was in town the other day.
A lot of female pop acts have
Yeah.
emerged from Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Also,
admirable.
the most divisive band of the last 30 years. Well, not divisive, because I don't know. I guess they're divisive. Polarizing Nickelback as well.
Yes.
We went this far without saying it.
Nickelback is the Michael Bay of Canadian artists. I'm sure what they like make and revenue helps like make all of these other like
They
fun,
subsidize all the other
yeah.
artists.
They're keeping Canada afloat. Yeah. Yeah.
They're a necessity.
I feel like now, like they're kind of like I feel like bashing them is kind of like 3 years ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it is.
Like
they're not really in the orbit anymore. You know, I mean, not that I was ever listening to them, but
right.
You know what I mean? They're obviously the public is fickle. You know.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
I don't
it's
think they're that
mainstream
popular.
rock, and there's a lot of mainstream rock I don't listen to. So
Sure.
it's weird now that I don't want classic rock stations. I think they're being advertised right alongside Pearl Jam, which is unfortunate, but that's how it rolls, I guess, in the world of FM. What's that?
Joni Mitchell. I missed
Joni
another
Mitchell
one.
is
Joni
Canadian.
Mitchell's Canadian.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They got,
I hope
they
she's
got
doing
the
better.
Canadian
I
like
overlooked some
singer-songwriter
important
down.
ones. Yeah. What about contributors on the ball diamond in Canada, though? You know,
Like Canadian-born?
Yeah, Canadian-born. The list is thinner on talent than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
I'm a
Right.
Cubs fan, so I know who the greatest Canadian baseball player of all time is.
Right.
That's
It's
Ferguson Jenkins.
It's indisputable. Yeah, right.
He's the only Hall of Famer.
Right,
Yeah.
he's the only Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Like after him, like the best, like might be like Joey Votto, you know, for like or Larry Walker.
Larry
I would
Walker.
say. Larry Walker,
Yeah.
who hit a lot of home runs.
And at one point got 20% of the Hall of Fame vote.
Yeah, and he was around a long time too. It
Oh,
seemed
yeah, he
like
was.
Yeah.
Joey Votto now, you know, is probably one of the best Canadian players. You know, a guy that I was looking through the list that I barely recall the White Sox signing, but he ended his career with us and actually got a pretty decent deal for the early '90s. Kirk McCaskill.
Yeah.
You guys remember him?
Yeah.
He was the baseball cards for the Angels. Yeah.
In terms of hits, I like to sort things by hits on Baseball Reference.
Okay.
The top of the list is Larry Walker, George Wood, Jeff Heath, Tip O'Neill, which are all guys pre-1950. Two of those guys pre-1900.
Jeff Heath was in like the '80s, though, right?
No, Jeff Heath was 36 to 49.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm a little
You must
off.
be thinking of somebody else.
Right.
Maybe his boy, his grandson. Matt Stairs is number 5. So,
Right.
yeah.
The Stairs. He was on the Cubs for a while. He was a
Yeah.
little.
Stairs made some rounds.
He stuck around. Yeah, Stairs would be on the all-fat team if we made
Oh,
one,
definitely.
you know?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's the
Yeah,
person
like-
they made like that can of corn guy on like King Griffey
Right.
Jr. Like he's like all chunky and
Him and
Stairs-
Matt LaCroix eating
David
pie
Wells.
contest.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Prince Fielder. Yeah.
Yeah, we could do an all. We could do an all.
take those guys to a buffet and have an interview.
Right. We could do an all hefty team episode sometime.
I don't remember Terry Puel. He played 77 to 91.
Never heard of him.
Doesn't ring a bell.
And then Justin Morneau is next. And then
okay.
Renault is Canadian, right?
moving down the list, Jason Bay, Corey Koski, Joey Votto, Russell Martin.
Corey Koski played with the Cubs for a while.
Yeah.
I want to say he did. Yeah.
Yeah. All of those guys are in the top
Good
20
third base-
all-time hits.
Defensively, Corey Koski's good. Was good. I don't think he plays anymore.
No,
But
he
yeah,
doesn't.
Stairs played until he was like 40 at
Oh,
least,
Yeah.
as well. He modeled a few uniforms near the end of his career.
He did.
It's hard to keep up. Yeah.
Pitchers, Ryan Dempster, Canadian, Cub,
There
Red
you go.
Sox. Other than Paul Quantrill. Oddly enough, this is my second personal Paul Quantrill reference for the weekend.
Awesome.
I made one to myself, unspoken, the other night, but
Oh, okay.
Paul Quantrill used to pitch for the Red Sox at one point, and I didn't realize he pitched until 2005.
Wow.
He pitched, 13 years, 1,200 innings, which is 7th all time, followed by Real Cormier,
Right.
Jeff Francis, Eric Bedard, Rich Harden. Yeah.
Harden, I forgot about it.
Whoa, what's this? There's a dude called the Only Nolan. He pitched before. He was pre-1900. His name is the Only Nolan. And yeah, that's strange. Okay, whatever. Anyway,
Interesting.
Yeah, a long list. And I was thinking about the two Canadian teams. Well, one now, but obviously we grew up in the 80s collecting a lot of cards. You know, both teams had powder blues.
Yeah. I was gonna say, can we say some of like our favorite players that were on Canadian teams?
oh yeah.
That's absolutely. That's where I'm going.
Like,
Yeah, let's talk about the teams
Carter,
now.
man. Gary Carter had one of the
Oh, yeah,
greatest
kid.
perms.
Yeah, great. He had a perm worthy of a Brady man. All right.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Him and
Oh,
Matt
yeah.
Stairs could have been in like perm commercials.
Stairs.
Stairs, for a while on the Cubs, he had like the light blonde curl.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
know, but like that's different though than like
It wasn't full
Carter
perm.
Like
was
the
like
perm
all
mullet,
of it,
right?
all of it.
Oh, yeah.
Carter was like had one of the things that went on his head. You know what
Yeah.
I mean when you go get your
Yeah.
haircut.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Gary Carter is probably. Yeah, he's obviously Dawson, but
Yeah.
I consider Andre Dawson to like a lot with the Cubs as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, he did a lot for the Expos. I mean,
He went in as an Expo.
yeah,
He went in with the
yeah.
whole
I
thing.
mean, he
Did he?
acquired
Not
a
a Met.
lot of his bigger stats. I mean, he played a long time, but
Yeah.
he achieved a lot of his greatness with the Expos.
I was looking at some lists earlier, and a lot of people had obviously him and Carter as one.
Olerud. I always liked Olerud.
Oh yeah.
On the Blue Jays, yeah.
Toronto.
Oh yeah.
George Bell for me was the quintessential Blue Jay of the '80s.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Tony Fernandez.
Tony
Seemed like
Fernandez was good.
I would get a
Yeah.
Tony Fernandez card in like every pack.
Oh my god, I can visualize the 88 score, Tony Fernandez.
Yeah, I do. It's funny. I have a shitload of Tony Fernandez in that closet as well.
I'm going Fred McGriff.
Oh, the crime dog.
yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Good deal.
Uh,
Tim Raines.
I had the McGriff Donruss rookie card. That was a good looking card.
What year? 88?
I think 87.
87.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might have even been around in '86.
My favorite Blue Jay of all time for some reason, Kelly Gruber.
A great name. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember
And
Kelly.
I'll say it, man. I'll just go out there. Good looking dude. Like if you look at any photos of Kelly Gruber, like
Dude,
Kelly
He's-
Gruber pulled some tang, man.
he's an attractive man.
actually
you know? I
his
gotta be
nickname
honest.
I was on his Wikipedia page today because that's what you do on a Sunday afternoon when you're watching the Royals game. And his nickname in Canada was actually it had something to do with it was Xanoth, Xanthos, meaning blonde, after his long flowing blonde hair,
Greek
and he was
god.
voted the city's most eligible bachelor.
Nice.
I bet Gruber was just swimming in it. For
So
those years.
yeah, and so he had a couple really good years.
he
At one
did.
point,
Yeah.
he got a lot of MVP votes one year.
Oh, yeah.
1990.
He had
yeah.
Diamond Kings.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and then he got traded to the Angels for Luis Soho, and it was because he retired the year
like,
after he got traded. He was
31.
31,
Yeah.
32. It turned out he had a bone spur on his vertebrae or something,
Right.
and he was at risk of he was risking paralysis, and so he retired and attempted to come back at one point, but then said forget it.
Yeah. Good looking son of a bitch, that Gruber.
Yeah. He had a pretty good mane.
One other, when I was doing some research today as well, I had no idea. Do you guys remember Pat Hintgen winning the World Series? Or maybe did I say, is it
picture,
Hintgen?
but no, I don't
Hinken.
remember.
Yeah.
Hintgen.
Yeah.
Not the World Series. I'm sorry. Pardon me.
The Cy Young?
1996 Cy Young.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he
He
was
didn't do much else, really.
No,
right?
no.
That's one of those definitely outlier Cy Youngs. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, those Blue Jays teams, they won 2 World Series.
Right.
Before
And
the
Joe
strike.
Carter.
Yeah, Joe Carter's walk-off home run.
Going back to the Expos and cards, Tim Wallach.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I had a lot of
Now,
Tim
now the
Wallachs.
third base coach for the Dodgers.
Yep.
And then also, I don't associate them with these teams because they started there, but then they moved on and gained most of their fame in other uniforms. But Randy Johnson and Pedro
Yes.
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. Vladimir Guerrero,
Yeah.
right?
And you talk about that. Everybody talks about the '94 Expos that would have won the
Right.
World Series, right?
Well,
And
and like Griffey was predicted to hit like how many home runs?
so he was on pace for 60 at least. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Before
White
that,
Sox had the best record in the
Oh yeah,
American
a
League.
season
Did
of
they?
what ifs.
Yeah.
so like one of their 2 best pitchers, even though Pedro was in that rotation, according to the
94,
numbers.
he was in the rotation still.
Sorry.
Pedro was in the '94 Expos rotation still.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But the one of their best pitchers was Jeff Facero that
wow.
year.
the guy
Native
from
of
Springfield?
Springfield, Illinois,
Yeah.
Sacred Heart
Yeah.
Griffin High School.
Yeah.
It was an odd rotation. Hold
Denny
on.
Martinez still around? He
Sorry.
was a pitcher. Denny Martinez.
Oh, he wasn't on that, but yeah, he was an awesome pitcher.
Yeah. And he spent a lot of time with the Expos.
Oh yeah.
Also, going back to Toronto for a second, he played. I kind of consider him a Padre too, but Robbie Alomar.
Oh yeah. He
Oh, dude,
started
yeah,
out
he
as
was-
a Blue Jay for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He went into the Hall of Fame as a Blue Jay, I think.
Wow.
He's in the Hall of Fame, isn't he? Robbie Alomar?
Yes.
Berto, he's
Yeah.
got to be.
Recent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think recently he was. Yeah, he's it's like one of the best second basemen of the '90s, I would say. Like after Sandberg, I feel like he just took off after that. After like Sandberg retired.
Oh, yeah.
Oh right.
I mean,
Oh yeah. I mean, he had the really unfortunate incident of spitting on an ump or something like that.
Oh,
Robbie
yeah, I
Alomar.
forgot about that.
oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But yeah, that Expos rotation in '94, Ken Hill was 16-5
Damn.
at the time of the strike. Then Pedro was 11-5 with a 3.42 ERA, but Jeff Facero was 8-6 with a 2.99 ERA and a
Nice.
1.14 WHIP.
Wow.
A dude named Butch Henry was 8-3 with a
I
2.43
remember Butch
ERA.
Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kirk Reeder.
They
was
were
on that
looking
rotation.
good, huh?
Andres Galarraga on that team.
Uh,
Cat?
it-
The cat on that?
no, he
He would have
wasn't.
been on Rockies by then.
Yeah, he was on the Rocky. Or
Okay.
yeah, he wasn't on the Expos.
'94. That would have been only the Rockies second or third year in the
Right.
league.
Yeah, 92,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, but the big cat. I mean, he's definitely one of the best.
He played forever too. He played until he was 40 at least.
399 home runs. One year he batted like 370 or something.
And he's not in the Hall yet.
He's not. No. He got.
He got tied to roids.
Galarraga
Did he?
pretty sure.
Yeah, he only got a fraction of the vote. He wasn't even close. Well, he also got tied to Coors Field.
Yeah, that too.
Huh? No shit. I didn't know he got popped.
93. Huh. Yeah, he played in 92 for the Cardinals, and then in 93 to 97 he was in Colorado.
Also an underrated pitcher on the Blue Jays, Dave Stieb.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
He didn't play long enough. If he would have played longer, he would have really amassed some really impressive numbers. Wasn't on that 93 team, wasn't Dave Stewart on there by then? Maybe? Or was he still on Oakland?
Right.
I want to say he was on the second Blue Jays team because they won back.
Yeah, he was on the 94 team. And then on the, of course, they had Jack Morris,
right?
Who pitched that, what was it, complete or 10 innings, Game 7 or something like that
in the 93 World Series or 92.
I forget which one.
Right.
But they had Juan Guzman.
Nice.
Oh, Dave Stewart was on the 93 team as well. Juan Guzman, Pat Henkin, Todd Stottlemyre, Dave Stewart, and Jack Morris.
That's a tough rotation.
Yeah. And you know who they had on the bench during those teams as a third baseman was Jeff Kent.
Oh, no kidding.
Who was productive. Yeah, like he was their top bench guy.
Don't remember that guy on the
team,
Blue
not
Jays
the 93 team.
Yeah, I have no recollection of Jeff Kent on the Blue Jays, but...
Yeah, right? I'm sorry, I should be saying 92 and 93, not 93 and 94. Right. Dick Schofield, another Springfield, Illinois native, was on the bench for the 93 team.
So I'd like to see the 93... Like, maybe I can, make these rosters on a video game. The 93 Blue Jays versus the 94 Expos.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm sure they were. I assume that the Blue Jays were competitive in '94.
Yeah, if they retained most of
that.
No,
actually, they were 55 and 60 at the time of the strike, so they were struggling. But yeah, it could have, it could have been an
and they basically sucked ever since after.
Yeah, since they haven't made the playoffs.
Yeah, if they make it this year, that's.
Devon White. That was one of my favorite Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. I remember. Yeah. They had a lot of veteran talent at that time on those Blue Jays World Series teams.
Yeah. Ed Sprague. I saw an Ed Sprague starting lineup at the baseball card store.
Whoa. Nice.
Paul Molitor was a DH as well.
Right. I remember him going to Toronto briefly. Yeah.
He was getting up there. He was, 35, 36, 37.
Right. He was leadoff man, too, right? When he was in Milwaukee.
I couldn't say for sure. I don't know. I recall.
Well, our friends from the North have given us a lot, guys.
Thank you, Canada.
Yeah, Matt Stairs, Rush,
I still think that team needs to chill out this year, all right? Just chill out and quit being so offended. Josh Donaldson's a bit of a hothead.
Yeah, he is. I'll agree with that. Guy can hit, man. I mean, that 1 and 2 with having Tulo at number 1 and then Donaldson at 2. That's one of the best 1-2s I've seen in a while.
Oh yeah, and with Encarnacion and
Bautista, that 1 through 4. Shit.
They got some sticks, man.
Yeah,
no doubt. But they crowd the plate, and they got to know that it's coming up and in. I mean,
right?
Sorry, you got to pitch in when you're crowding the plate.
Yeah,
boys.
No, I think Donaldson is on it. I think he's a future MVP candidate.
Oh, he's an MVP candidate right now.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, he's gonna win one eventually. I guess.
Yes. Probably. Yeah, that must hurt a little bit for the A's fans to.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it hurt when they did it because he was good when they did it, but.
Yeah, I was blown away they traded him.
That is after the season he had and where he's at in his career. He's only like 27, I think, something like that. He's in his prime.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I guess if you're an A's fan, you probably can't get too attached to players, is my guess.
No,
You know?
no, not
I
at
feel
all.
I feel like for some reason, aside from Mark Ellis, they kept Mark Ellis. It seems like for like 15 years, but everybody else is pretty expendable.
Mark Ellis wouldn't leave. They asked him like 4 times.
They've traded him 4 times, and
Right.
he just refuses to leave.
He's like, I'll play for free. I don't care. Yeah.
By the way, speaking of trades, I didn't know Nick Swisher was still in the league, and the
Wow.
Indians just
He's
traded
been
him.
hurt.
Yeah,
Did they trade him?
they traded him to the Braves.
Oh, Swisher went to the Braves. I did not know that.
Swisher and Bourne to the Braves for Chris Johnson.
Oh, really? That's a trade that like totally flew over my radar.
Because both the teams aren't that great.
Right,
this
but
year.
the teams aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a relevant trade. I guess it was just to dump contracts. I
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, like I said, our friends to the north, they've been good to us over the years. So after you listen to this, guys, crank up the band, crank up April Wine.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of Adams.
If you're in a mellow mood, throw a little Gordon on.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. So we'll do our recommendations now. You guys ready to go?
Yeah.
Cool.
Here, hold on. Yeah, you can go.
I'll go.
First.
I'll go first. Mine stems actually from Broken Social Scene. The lead guitarist in Broken Social Scenes is Andrew Whiteman, and he went to Cuba to stay with his godmother, and became influenced by Cuban guitars and such, and started a side project called Apostle of Hustle, and this album, National Anthem of Nowhere, is for some reason one of my favorite albums of the last, 2007, of the last 10 years. I've listened to this album probably as much as any other album in the last 10 years. Great songwriting, unique sounds on here. Apostle of Hustle, National Anthem of Nowhere.
Cool. Nice. Levi, what about you, man?
Well, you go first, Gabe. I
will. Mine is don't have it in front of me here, but I'm going back, not going to a newer release, but an old one, 40 years old actually, but maybe some of our listeners don't know of this band. It's the 1975 debut record, self-titled, from Ambrosia.
Oh yeah.
All right. And I would describe this as kind of like yacht prog. You know what I mean?
Are they Precious and Few? Did they do that song?
I think they did in the 80s. They did like a they were totally poppy, and they were like Air Supply, in the 80s. But their first couple 70s releases are definitely steeped in prog. And one of the reviewers on Ardeo, can't remember who, or I'd give him credit for it, but I know I didn't say it. Alan Parsons mixed that Ambrosia record,
Nice.
and Alan Parsons also worked on Dark Side of the Moon. He mixed that as well, just a couple years before this. So this guy calls it the light side of the moon, and I think that's a really apt way to put it.
Right on.
So yeah, check it out, Ambrosia, Ambrosia. It's their debut record from '75.
Cool.
Really good. Their 80s stuff, just tread lightly. All right. Yeah. So, but definitely that 70. I really have been digging that 75 debut record a lot lately.
Right on.
I haven't got a ton of new stuff, but I did make it to the record shop before I left Illinois, and one of the last things I bought there was this 45. It's Steve Goodman, and it's the City of New Orleans.
Nice.
And it's one of those cases where I think I like almost every cover version I've heard better than this. And not to say that it's not a great song, but it's like sometimes you just hear songs and you're like, wow, man, that other artist really took that. The Willie Nelson version of this is excellent. Arlo Guthrie
the
has a
interpretation
version.
is better than the original. So.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, it was one of those times. Yeah, exactly, like with Cohen. And I had never heard that original version. I'd always heard the Arlo Guthrie version, or like in the 80s, the Willie Nelson version. I think my parents had the LP of it. And so City of New Orleans, Steve Goodman.
Cool.
Check it
out. Hustle, Steve Goodman, and Ambrosia. There's a triple bill for you.
There you go.
All right. Well, you can follow us at Rock In. That's in as in Annihilate.
Wow. Wow.
I'll give a
Oh, yeah.
Springfield reference there.
Hey, they were so big they they're in High Fidelity.
They are the sticker, yeah.
Oh, right.
In Cusack's
they're not
record
in, like,
office.
the band's
No,
not,
yeah, the band's not, but there's
there
like
is
a
a
scene
sticker
where
record
Cusack's in
job,
his
yeah,
office and there's
right,
a
that's-
sticker like right next to his head.
Yeah. Annihilate. Yeah.
I figure that's worth a few Google searches, for
Right?
them.
Oh, yeah.
So,
NIL8.
Yep.
Right? Number 8.
So you can follow us at RockNChew on Twitter and Instagram. You can like us on Facebook, as well as you can check out this episode and so many more, all 29 more, at rockchew.com. So rockchew.com.
Oh, also check us out on Stitcher. We're on Stitcher.
Okay, which is a podcasting
Distributor, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And iTunes, obviously. Oh, and rate us on iTunes. That would be awesome.
Rate us on iTunes, because that'll help boost our profile. So please do. Tell all your friends about us. We've got some. We're gonna have some good content coming up as the baseball season winds down and into the off season too. So rockchew.com, and we'll see you for episode number 31. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.